Welcome to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Lori Lothian, and today we're talking about 2022 Aquarius. Oh my God, guys, I'm an Aquarius rising. It's good for Aquarius rising, sun and moon. What a relief. This is going to be the year 22 of incredible developments in our money and our wealth, as well as our career, but also our home. Mostly, I'm going to say it's generating a lot of momentum around a new home, a change of career, and a lot more money, honey. I'm really happy for us. However, I want to contextualize this. It was awful in 2021. We had been pummeled by the Saturn-Uranus square. Saturn is the ruler of our sign of Aquarius for the sun, moon, and ascendant, especially people. And we've been in and out of this gritty tension all year long of 21. In fact, feeling like push, pull, change, don't want to change, not sure, anxiety, nail biting. It's been intense. Now, the good news is it is changing, and I'm so happy for all of our Aquarian folk out there like me. Now, I do want to tell you that if you want to really take some really good leaps of faith when it comes to moving somewhere or enhancing your income and money sources, it's going to be a great year. I'm going to give you all the details why, courtesy of Jupiter, courtesy of an eclipse cycle as well. There's a lot going on in the chart besides those areas that I just mentioned. However, this is just your YouTube teaser version of about 15 to 20 minutes, and the rest of the session is up to 75 minutes long, where I'm going to go through every single planet and how it's activating the Aquarian story in 2022. So if you want the rest of the reading, check the description link below. You can buy it. It's not very expensive. Trust me, for 75 minutes of detailed content. But also you can buy the All Signs bundle. Why not? That means you can check your moon, your sun, and your rising sign. They all work together, starting with the rising sign being the most significant. And if you want, you can share with your friends and family and check out all your neighbors, kids, and relatives, year ahead forecast. So check the description link below for the bundle for all signs, or buy your sign a la carte. All right, so let's get going. Now, the first thing I want to say is that we are getting ready to be the spearhead for humanity, the lead goose on humanity's goosey thing, the geese that fly. And why are we doing that? Because we have been initiated with the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in December of 2020, giving the Aquarian element of reality a new mandate. And basically this means that we Aquarians are the new storytellers for humanity. It doesn't mean you have to be famous. It doesn't mean you have to be all out there in the world. It just means you're kind of the leading edge, especially you Aquarian risings, but sun and moon as well. And so we're carrying a lot of kind of like new energy for the collective that lasts for up to 20 years since the December 20th, 2020 conjunction, 21st, 2020 conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter at 0 degrees Aquarius. For all of those Aquarians, sun and moon, who have their ascendant within the first, let's say, 5 degrees of Aquarius, wow, it's even more intense for you, what I'm saying. Now, you can also say that because Saturn is in your Aquarian first house until March of 2023, that initiation with Jupiter that set this whole thing in motion about auspiciousness for the Aquarian zone of the chart is going to play out a lot in 2022 for the second decan, or the middle 10 degrees of Aquarius. So if you're looking at your ascendant, sun or moon anywhere between about, let's say, 9 degrees of Aquarius all the way up to about 23 degrees of Aquarius, you're really feeling this. Or if you're looking at your Aquarian sun sign, if you were born around, February 1st to maybe the 17th, you're also feeling Saturn in your traveling through your degrees of Aquarius this year. And I'm just saying he's sort of lighting pilot lights underneath us from what he initiated in December of 2020. So the first 10 degree people got really initiated in 2021 by sort of a new sense of mission, purpose, where they're going with this new conjunction of energy in the house of their being. And then 22 is for us, I'm a second decan, 16 degree Aquarius ascendant. So for us, this is our turn. And then next year in 23, late 22 into 23, the last 10 degrees of Aquarius get most of the energy. So let's talk about the idea that when Aquarius leaves, Saturn leaves Aquarius in 2023. We've all been given a new mission possible. Do, 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 do. And it's making us focus on our health, strengthen our bodies. He's in our first house. Be serious and sober-minded and realistic about what we want to achieve over the next 30 years. You know, it's a kind of a hard-ass reset here. And Saturn is not going to give us any missions that we can't do, or that are impossible dreams, or that are unrealistic. It's going to be very serious, sober-minded, realistic assessments of our life and what our next goal is and what our next dream is. Okay, and how we want to achieve longevity as well. Saturn in our first house is saying, you want to live another 30 years? You know, do this, do that, and the other thing. So the excitement I have for us Aquarians is twofold. Jupiter in our second house is going to bring us wealth in 2022, the kind of money and earnings and possessions and goodness toward career and money that we haven't seen in 12 years. Because every 12 years, he goes into Pisces. And Pisces is the Aquarian second house of money, honey, and it's going to be good. Now, go back in your minds to May, around May 11th or 13th or so, I think it's May 13th of 2021. Ponder that for a minute. And then go forward to June 21st of 2021. Jupiter was direct in your money house, but only in the first 2 degrees. And then continue on from June 21st to July 28th of 21, it was retrograding in the same territory of our money house. Now, during his direct motion, this is where all the momentum was. So mid-May to June 21st, what happened in your money story? Because that's what's going to happen on steroids, larger than life, bigger than ever, and better in 22. So for me, I launched about 4 courses in the month of May, June. It was crazy ass. And I made a lot of money teaching astrology classes during that window of time. Then it all slowed down because in July I was traveling across the country and I just didn't do anything but travel and move and stuff like that. So go back to see what seeds were planted, what was the energy, what kinds of things happened. You know, Jupiter coming into Pisces, which is his sign. He owns the Pisces real estate. That's why it's so good. He owns Pisces and Sagittarius real estate and traditional astrology. I'm a Hellenistic astrologer, whole sign houses, please. If you look tropical, whole sign Hellenistic, okay. If you look at him going into Pisces, shallow waters 2 degrees in that first ingress, near the fixed star Fomalhaut, which is most of the fish and has to do with mystical, magical, mysterious, and cool esoteric stuff, and Archangel Gabriel, he planted some seeds back then. He put like minnows in the water, okay? And when we come back into, well, when he comes back into our second house in 22, those minnows have grown, some of them, into jumbo fish that we want to harvest, so as money harvest. So one of the things that is going to happen is that December the 29th or so, 28th, 29th, Jupiter will slide over, slipping over from his Aquarian journeys where he's been, you know, for most of 22, 21, and go in. And that's been, by the way, go back and think about 21 as a year of extra girth. I put some weight on. Normally when Jupiter goes through your first house, you're going to put a little bit of weight on, and you may feel more optimistic, buoyant, leaderful, and willing to take some half full subjective well-being cups, you know, and run with it. Like I drove across the whole country while Jupiter was in my first house. Like, oh, here she goes. So, you know, you might find yourself, you know, feeling that that's a great thing. I want to hold on to that Jupiter optimism, but having him come into our second house where he is in dignity is a lot better. I'll tell you, last year, 21, Jupiter in our first house wasn't the best of all because Saturn was there bossing him around. And, you know, Jupiter didn't have license to just like totally kill it for us and make us like, you know, the next best thing's to sliced bread. So then this year, though, he goes into Pisces on around the 20th, I think it's the 29th or 28th or 29th of December, and he'll be in Pisces until he goes all the way through the sign until the middle of May. And during this window of time, we're getting all of this grace in our money story. So it's a perfect time to ask for the raise, or the raise will be given to you, the promotion. If you're like me with online business stuff, to launch something new. I'm launching a incredible new course in February of 2022. I'm so excited by what I'm creating. I think it's the thing I'm here to do. Well, at least one of the big things I'm here to do. And, you know, if you think about, you know, Jupiter being in your court, you know, you'll have luck with money, okay? Luck with possessions, luck with all that stuff. He will sextile the house of home and land and real estate, bringing you lucky new relocations, buying, selling, moving, you know, renting new homes, all very fortunate during that window of time in the beginning of the year, from the start of the year until the middle of May. But then he goes into Aries. Now, I'm going to get to the Aries story in a minute. I want to remind you of this money honey story that we get in our second house. Jupiter comes back. Yeah, for an encore performance round 3 into our second house at the end of the year, around October 28th until December the 20th. He slides backwards in retrogrades into our money house, and he does it with a very tiny little like territory of travel, and it's around 28 degrees, I believe. So it's only going to go back in 2 degrees, just like he came in 2 degrees at the beginning, first 2 degrees in 2021. If you have anything going on in the last 2 degrees of Pisces and your second house, or if your midheaven is sitting in your whole sign 10th house in the last like 5 or 6 degrees of the top of your chart, Scorpio, that's going to be a gorgeous saturated water trine to your career house. I wish my midheaven was there. Boo-hoo. But for some of you people, getting a Jupiter trine to an MC, midheaven, high noon in Scorpio, or in the last 5 degrees of Scorpio, in the last 2 degrees of 22, is going to be a glorious, amazing uptick and blessed time for your career and your money in tandem. Now, for all the rest of you people, like whether your midheaven's there or not, you're still feeling it. You still have Jupiter coming in and out of your second house. Now, if you know your astrology really well and you have planets in your second house and Jupiter's going over them, that gets activated. Like I have Mars and Jupiter in my second house. I get Jupiter, it's called a Jupiter return, get Jupiter, Mars, like gung-ho, luck and action and drive. And, so think about, if you want to look at your chart, what planets are receiving Jupiter as he comes home to his own house. They will be teaming up with him to help. And that's where you might want to see an astrologer, because an astrologer say, oh, look, Jupiter's coming into your second house where Mars is living. What houses does Mars rule? So for me, Mars rules my 10th house of career, Scorpio. So I know that I'm getting all kinds of collateral benefits, because Mars will say, Jupiter, you're home. How can I serve you? This is your house, Seaside Mansion. And Jupiter says, I want you to help Lori's career. So this is how you can parse this kind of content. Now, if this is over your head, I apologize, but this is a value of seeing astrologers, where we can really go into the depth of how this really works in your chart. So much to talk about: the natal condition of your Jupiter, natal condition in terms of dignity of planets in your money house, all of that. So I just want to say, as a general broad brushstroke, there's not going to be one darn Aquarius who doesn't leave 2022 feeling that there have been career and money blessings. And it's going to be the kind of thing where you don't get that juice for another 12 years. Now, some of it is like seeds that are planted as well. In other words, even though Jupiter leaves this whole part of our story at the end of 22, things that he's done here are building new money foundations for us. And you could go back and say, when was Jupiter and Pisces in my chart last time? Go Google Jupiter and Pisces. Well, it's 12 years back, My brain's not thinking time. I'm on right brain mode right now. Go roughly 22, 12. Do you know what was happening back in 2020? 2000. What was happening back in 2012, 2010? What was happening back in 2009, 10 kind of thing, that maybe Jupiter was bringing you some financial blessings, that kind of vibe. Go ponder. So also, I would say one more thing about Jupiter bringing us all this great money, luck, and juice and stuff like that. Jupiter brings opportunity. It doesn't just like dump a pile of money on your doorstep. I think Venus might do that more often. Jupiter is opportunity god. So you have to be waiting and ready, and the door knocks, you got to answer, right? That's the classic opportunity knocks, answer the darn door. So don't expect it just to come out of, pennies from heaven, windfall vibe. For some of you, it could be pennies from heaven, and it could be windfall stuff, but that's going to depend on what's going on, for instance, in your 11th house. For me, Jupiter's a ruler of my Sagittarius 11th, as it is for you, which is often a sign that we can get windfalls when Jupiter's in our second house. However, or in our 11th house. However, what is the condition of planets in your 11th house, etc.? Maybe your midheaven is there. For me, it is, which means it's more like career pennies from heaven than, say, the lottery ticket. All right, so there we go. Jupiter will be, though, in Aries. I'll just touch on that really briefly here in the teaser portion. Jupiter is going to be in Aries also in 2023 for the first 5 months, or 4.5, 5 months. But he's also going to be in Aries, which is our third house, from mid-May until the October 28, 2022. Now, with Jupiter in Aries, our third house. This is going to be a time which it's very possible we are going to be doing a bit of traveling or learning. Jupiter in the third house can be trips, trains, and automobiles. Here we go, adventure. But you look likely local or domestic travel, or national travel. Then with the vibe of the third house being what you want to teach or learn. Now, learning a skill, I want to learn to weave, I want to learn to fix a car, I want to learn to sell real estate. It's really kind of more proximate learning, skills-based learning, or compulsory, like elementary school stuff. But if you're an adult listening to this, so if you're a young child listening to this, it's going to be really good. You're going to kill it. You're going to get great grades, do really well in high school or in under elementary level. But for the rest of us, it's skills-based learning. Some of you will pick up a new trade or skill with Jupiter there in the summertime, but some of you Aquarians like me who teach online, and I teach skills-based learning, this is me getting a huge amount of support from Jupiter mid-May all the way through to like end of October for me being the teacher of skills-based learning. So you see what I mean? It works both ways. Sibling relationships are enhanced when Jupiter is, and aunts, uncles, and cousins, but mostly siblings are enhanced when Jupiter is in your third house, as well as your online presence. Like if you have a website or you do social media, Jupiter will expand your reach, expand your growth. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications, please. I forgot to say that. He'll expand your reach in social media, online world stuff. But if you have siblings and things have been difficult or strained, or there's been problems with them, which can happen, Jupiter will smooth it all out, bring sibling blessings, not only in your relationship to your siblings, but to your siblings who get collateral benefits, and they're going to thrive and get a little bit more luck with Jupiter going through your third house. So that's good for them as well. I'm hearing my sisters watching this going, yay, I'm getting collateral benefits. I have a sister who's a tarot reader, and I have a sister who's a Reiki healer, and I'm the astrologer. The three witches of Northwick. We grew up in Northern Ontario. Okay, so you got the gist, right? I don't think there's anything I have to say except one more thing on the money story, all right? Buckle up for a ride of a lifetime at the end of April, but the whole month of April. Venus is exalted, moving through our money house, okay? She's exalted in Pisces with Jupiter home in his own sign and Neptune, the modern ruler of Pisces, there as well. This is a perfect storm. This happens so freaking rarely, guys. This is the kind of thing you're going to see once every 150 years. They're going to be going together into a triple conjunction, yay, on April 30th in our money house on the day of a Taurus solar eclipse. Venus is the exaltation lord of our money house and the lord of the Taurus solar eclipse. For some of us Aquarians, we're going to have a big gain in our finances stemming from the end of April or the whole month of April developments, and then unfurling for 6 more months, which is a typical eclipse window of influence. And because it's so unicorns, rainbows, and enchantment, it may not be something you can even see coming. It may have a quality of that windfall promise of Jupiter's rulership of our 11th house. But whatever it is, it's very sweet. It can help us with real estate because the eclipse is in the home, the chart part of home, house, and real estate where we live. Some of us may be finding the most important like home of our lifetimes, buying a home, selling a home, moving, being gifted an opportunity to move to an incredible place, that kind of thing. Don't forget, it's starting in April, but could unfold for 6 more months until November 2022. That enchanted April 30th sky in tandem in a harmonious flow to the Venus ruled solar eclipse. Now that solar eclipse is going to happen in Taurus, but it's our 4th house, but it's going to happen in Taurus at the 10th degree. So if your rising sign, sun or moon, is in the first, let's say between the 5th and the 15th degree of Aquarius, you're really feeling this a lot more. So my ascendant's at 16 or so. I'm going to say I probably will feel it, but we're all going to feel it. All Aquarians will. It's more potentized if your sun, moon, or rising Aquarius is close to that 10-degree mark. Don't worry. There's a Taurus eclipse later in the year at 15 degrees that us mid-decan Aquarians will get as well. But that detail on the eclipse cycle for us, you'll have to watch or listen to the rest of this video by purchasing your link below. For your sign, we're having the eclipses. That's what I was going to touch on next in the teaser, angular to our ascendant, or our sun and moon, but are really our ascendant. So we have north node eclipses through Taurus in our 4th house, south node eclipses in our 10th house. It means a loss, a letting go, a surrendering around certain statuses in our life, our reputation, and our career. So if, status can be, I'm married, now you're getting separated. I'm single, now you're moving into a relationship. I'm hoping that's true for me. You're dating and now you're moving in. You're moving in, now you're engaged. So it's kind of status changes, but there's a south node. So it's softening, releasing, surrendering, and letting go. But it can just be a letting go or a softening of the current status of one of those things. The eclipses are therefore also operating to soften us up around our career path and bring us a sense of, first of all, any skills and talents you have from other lives can be really highlighted in your career right now, kind of like your spiritual gifts, your cities, your natural abilities, South Node in 10th. But also you may find there's a letting go of things to do with 10th house themes, like the ambition and drive to succeed. Your focus is going to take yourself off like the rah, win, succeed energy. This is the house of the father. It could soften your relationship with your father. It could actually mean a letting go of that relationship. Some of us have elderly parents. Maybe that parent will be passing. Just a thought, not necessarily. A lot more detail in your chart would show that, like an eclipse to the sun, which is father. I also feel like that North Node transit through the 4th house, even if your root of your chart isn't there, because in whole sign houses, the ICMC root and midheaven can float all the way through the top and bottom of the chart, from seriously, like the midheaven can be in the 7th to the 12th house. Even if your IC is not your root of the chart, the darkest of night is not in your 4th house. Having eclipses through your 4th house will often indicate a relocation. Okay, go back to 2003 and 4, and did you relocate? I sure did. Think about May of 2003 to the end of 2004. I moved countries, guys. I moved from the US to Canada. So a lot of you with eclipses North Node propelling action, expansion, and growth, you could get a bigger home, expand your home, do really great things from home, but you can also simply just move. So a lot of you will have a significant and life-changing move in 2022, which could trickle into 2023. The last eclipse in 23 is in May in Scorpio. So it's a long eclipse cycle because it kind of started half-assed and ends half-assed, kind of out of sign, out of nodes, but so it's going on for quite a while. When the North Node eclipse is going through Taurus, look to your natal Venus in your chart. If you're a geek like me, what is she doing in your chart? Is she in dignity? Is she strong? Is she weak? Because, her temperament will influence how this eclipse cycle plays out for you. My Venus is in Taurus. She's really strong. She lives in the 4th house. She's all about finding me some really sweet homes to live in. I've had the best homes and the best luck with real estate in my life, like buying, selling, moving, living in. Okay, so also you might want to look at the other houses that Venus is ruling, because the eclipse cycle is ruled by Venus. There's sort of like subsidiary energy flowing through the chart. So the 9th house is Libra, and she owns that real estate as well as exalting her 2nd house. So as I said, exalted money. But the 9th house is book publishing, higher education, dharma, spiritual attainment, the meaning of life, and foreign trips and travel, but also just foreign shores. The word international, and I say book publishing. So these themes are going to be prominently energized because she's holding space for Rahu, the North Node, and they're all for all of her real estate dominion, the 4th house Taurus, the 9th house Libra, and the exaltation house or VIP house of Pisces are going to have a little bit more energy to them in 2022. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye. Oh, no, I'm not. I forgot to draw a card for you guys. Oh my God. I can't draw a card from the Animal Oracle deck because did I pack it up? No, I've got it here. I'm going to pause and get it. Sorry, I'm relocating today. I almost ripped you guys off. When you buy the whole thing, you get two card draws in your reading for animals or energies for 22. And the other one is the angels and ancestors that you get in part 2. But this is the Kim Cran's animal spirit deck. And let's see what Aquariuses are getting. And I really encourage you to get the all signs or your own sign, because we're having other really intense energies happen with the Mars thing in 2020, with the Mars thing and the Venus thing in 2022, and not going into those details. You're going to, especially the Venus thing, which I'm not going to tell you much about, but she's doing a rare thing that she hasn't done since 2013. And it's really impacting us in our Aquarian zone with regards to very particular themes to do with spiritual liberation and getting rid of addictions and self-sabotaging habits, as well as potentially generating revenue from foreign lands. So like PayPal Stripe revenue. So if you want to know more about what Venus is doing for us, and a rare thing that she hasn't done since 2013, 14, and something that Mars is doing that he won't do except for every 24 years, you definitely want to get the whole thing because you're missing some really valid information. All right, this is our Aquarius. Oh my God, it's Crow. I was just doing a client, I'm recording this in November. I was just doing a client reading before this video and a crow landed on the railing because I'm Aquarius, right? So we have Crow, guys. I love it. I don't even know what it means because of course it's like I memorized Kim Cran's book. Crow is an air animal, okay, and we're an air sign, obviously, because we are Aquarians are air. The water bearer is an air sign. So there's a bunch of birds in here. I have to do with speck, hawk and stuff, peacock, dragonfly, owl, crow. This is ours, guys. Aquarius is we rock. Spirituality, strong, creative, and watchful. Keywords. Oh, spiritually strong. Yes, we be spiritually strong. That's the Venus story in 22. Creative and watchful. The crow has long been a symbol of magic. A crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen, knowing the unknown. It is said that the crow holds within its mind's eye the three realities, past, present, and future. Crow energy is potent and should only be tapped when the mind is clear. Those with crow tendencies must balance their life with a healthy diet. That's a part of what Venus is doing, getting us to get a healthy diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. When you're in balance in 22 Aquarius, you are psychic, strong, and clear. When you are out of balance, you're ungrounded, you are hypersensitive. And to bring yourself into balance, daily meditation practice, that's something I don't do. I need to do that. Okay, so you got the gist of some clues for us in 22. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check my description box below for all the stuff I have going on, just in case you want to grab my newsletter and sign up. It's great. You get a 30% discount code for any reading with me. Entered into a draw for a free reading. And you get every month, and you get a free course of mine, the annual perfections course. And all of that comes to you instantly as soon as you sign up for my Cosmic Moonshine Swig of Weekly Astrology News, weekly forecast newsletter coming to your box every Sunday with great depth into what's coming up for the week ahead for your purview. And that's a written email format. Okay, so done with that. Thanks for listening. I'm signing off. Ciao. And then, of course, if you're listening to this because you bought the whole thing, we're going to continue going.